Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Wisconsin Weather Experts. It's Tuesday. It's a little rainy here in Milwaukee and across much of the state. Even just had some grapple out on the weather deck.
If our viewers had only been able to be right here in the weather office, they would have seen the biggest explosion of weather nerd ever.
Yes, it's true.
Well, it's a unique phenomenon. I shouldn't say it's unique, but it's something that doesn't happen as commonly as the other types of precipitation. And grapple is, it needs a particular setup.
Yeah, and it's just like hail. So it looks like hail, but if you were to pick it up, it's soft. So it's considered more of, like a little snow pellet rather than an ice pellet like hail is. So it does still have its distinct differences, but it all has to do with some of the cooler air that is aloft. And I mean, we've got cooler air here at the surface too, certainly above freezing, but the higher up you go is usually quite a bit cooler.
It's fascinating. I've heard it called soft hail, snow grains. It's got a lot of interesting names, and of course, it's, like I said, interesting phenomenon. And we're actually going to talk a little bit more. Tom dug in a little bit about how temperatures impact some of our precipitation. We'll have that for you in a few minutes. But we want to kick off our weather news, and yes, we'll start again up in Alaska. That has been topping our weather news. Look at this video. This is actual real-time video of a house just getting ripped off its foundation by the storms and the flooding. Homeowner capturing this on video while his home was being swept away due to the torrential storms. Plastic bags, boxes of blankets, you name it, furniture, cushions, all floating in the water. The remnants of Typhoon Hailong hit the western Alaska area on October 12th. So we're talking about 8-9 days of dealing with this. Now forcing more than 2,000 people to leave their homes. Authorities say it was at least one person at this point is dead. 2 others remain missing.
Heartbreaking to see those images again.
Absolutely.
All right, well, officials at the Hall of Flame Museum of Firefighting in Arizona are starting to clean up after a storm caused flood damage to their building. Museum staff there say the storm happened very quickly. Workers jumped to action to save important displays. Now they're left with both immediate and long-term repairs to make. That includes a new drainage system to prevent future flooding. Yeah, 2 areas where the flooding has just been devastating, parts of the Southwest as well as Alaska.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a really great museum. You saw some little glimpses of some of the displays they have, and horrible to see that impacted by the water damage. So hopefully things will be put back together, and then maybe we can all take a little road trip visit down there.
I'm in.
All right, now we're going to go to parts of central Florida. They're looking more like a lake lately after the rain over the last few months. Fox 35 is our sister station there, and they've been telling us for the last few months about the flooding in Mims. Now, some residents say the building needs to stop. The buildings in that area need to stop because the infrastructure just can't keep up with it. So Fox 35's Esther Bauer is hearing some possible solutions to the flooding problem.
Neighbors think a building moratorium could help because all the flooding keeps getting worse. It's impacting local families. This local nursery was closed for weeks because of all the flooding in the front yard. Some tell us they haven't seen their drainage ditches cleaned out in decades. We have one of those right over here. You can see standing water that isn't draining anywhere. We haven't even had a hurricane this year, but homeowners are still stuck in standing water.
It's gotten worse and worse and worse. Well, we probably have more water than we've ever had, even during a hurricane.
Timothy Wagner had so much water in his yard this month, he couldn't even run his nursery for several weeks. The water was 8 inches high and wouldn't drain.
What's going on with the people that should be servicing those ditches?
He tells Fox 35 he rarely sees people pulling plants and other debris from the ditch in front of his home, and he isn't alone.
But we can't get drainage fixed around here? It's absurd.
John Buck is tired of fighting for flooding fixes.
We've contacted the county for 10 years, emailed back and forth, sent them pictures.
Now the county has a new District 1 county commissioner who says flooding is one of the biggest issues she hears about.
We are taking the brunt of a huge amount of water.
Her residents want building in the area to stop.
Let's stop and look at what we're doing to the environment, to the people that actually still that live here and have been here. We're getting overdeveloped, and the water's getting pushed on top of us. which devalues our property.
Commissioner Delaney isn't opposed, but
I would probably be the one vote to do that.
to help her residents deal with all the flooding, she's working on 3 solutions right now. Wanting engineers to study flooding in an area before a rezone goes through, seeing how much it will cost the county to do regular maintenance on drainage ditches in her district, and asking the St. John's to demuck the river so it can hold more flood water.
Something needs to happen here.
And the commissioner is collecting data on what ditches need to be addressed in the community. If you have one in your neighborhood, take a picture and send it over to her. Now, another big issue is just staffing. She says there was only 1 crew maintaining all of North Brevard. Several are needed to deal with all of these issues. Reporting in Mims, Esther Bauer, Fox 35 News.
Oh, what a great story.
Yeah, absolutely. We hope that they can come to a solution.
Right.
Well, while we have rain in the forecast also, thankfully, it is not expected to cause any flooding here locally. In fact, we do still need it at this time of year.
We're a little dry.
We are a little dry, aren't we? All right, we have our regional outlook in about 3 minutes, but first, Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks takes a look at forecasting the rain using temperatures.
Well, let's talk about our rain chances here on this Tuesday, and for that, we're going upstairs to about 18,000 feet in the atmosphere. And what I'm showing you here are the forecast temperatures as we go into this afternoon. And this is very cold air setting up here in the upper Midwest, courtesy of a storm system that is spiraling through. But you might be thinking, why are we looking at 18,000 feet? Why does that matter? Well, think about this for a minute. If you are a little air parcel, so pretend you're an air parcel here at the surface where temperatures are in the 40s to around 50 degrees. Now you go up, right? So you go up like you're in a hot air balloon, right? And what happens as you go up? It gets colder, right? Well, as that air temperature around you gets colder, you are also going to cool off, and eventually you're going to reach the dew point temperature, which then causes clouds and rain to form. Well, when the air is very cold as you head up, especially around 18,000 feet, which, by the way, this is around minus 20 Fahrenheit. So think about that. It gets very cold very quickly. The higher up you go, that is what leads to instability in our atmosphere. So the colder it is, like it is on days like today, we get these instability rain showers that pop up. Sometimes in the summertime, we'll talk about popcorn thunderstorms, right? Similar type of a setup here with the cold air aloft. In the wintertime, they may be instability type snow showers. But again, it all goes back to what's happening here in this case at 18,000 feet. Now I want to take you towards the end of the week because you're going to notice it actually starts to get a little bit warmer here. And by warmer on Friday at 18,000 feet, I mean about -1 Fahrenheit, which is a rather significant difference, right? About a 20-degree temperature difference between Tuesday and Friday. So that just goes to show the impact that these storm systems can have and how all of this is created, because not every system is the same. But in this case, for our Tuesday, it has a lot to do with that cold air above us at 18,000 feet.
There you go. Temperature to predict precipitation.
All at 18,000 feet, where
There
that
you
jet
go.
stream is. That's where we're looking for everything,
Yeah.
honestly.
Well, yeah, it's a major driver of our weather, and it's something we don't necessarily think about when we live down here in the lower, like, 2 meters of the atmosphere, right? Well, we're going to look up there, we're going to look left, we're going to look right, we're going to look at it all today because we've got quite a few things going on.
We do. We're in one of the active parts of the U.S. today. We already talked about at the beginning of the show how Milwaukee has some light rain making its way on through, and that goes for the majority of the state of Wisconsin. We also saw some rain yesterday evening. It was pretty light here in southern parts of the state. 1/10 to maybe 2/10 of an inch of rain. But the low pressure itself is over the UP right now. A lot of this moisture on the backside of it, this is more so just some wraparound rain, but you can see it extending into #1 southern Canada, but #2 parts of Minnesota, as well as Iowa, and then the Great Lakes region. You know, those fronts are technically way east of us, but again, this is some of that wraparound moisture. So the wind is counterclockwise around a low pressure system, so it's still keeping all of this in. In fact, the cloud deck is as far west as parts of the Dakotas. So we're still going to feel impacts from this system in Wisconsin, even through Wednesday. By Thursday, we should finally see this sliding its way out towards the east and sunshine back in our area. cold front, again, east of us, extending all the way down through the lower Mississippi Valley on into parts of Texas. You can see there is a line of some showers out ahead of that frontal boundary down towards the south. All of this, once again, will be pushing east in the next couple of days, and that will allow some high pressure systems to roll in, at least for the Midwest and eventually Great Lakes region as we get towards the end of the week and on into the weekend. We have a beautiful weekend across Wisconsin expected. Now, with this system, we do still have some strong wind. I know that's been the trend as of the last couple of days. It's going to be windy today as well as tomorrow. In fact, there are some wind headlines out towards the west, wind advisories that is, and that's where wind gusts could be approaching 45, maybe even 50 miles per hour. Now, here in Wisconsin, it's still going to be windy here. In fact, our gusts could be approaching 30 miles per hour. I think tomorrow, though, the wind will be just a little bit stronger. You can see even at this hour, Milwaukee's current gust is 26 miles per hour. Look at Des Moines, Iowa, though, over 40. And then you can see a lot of other spots from Fargo down to Sioux Falls across the Dakotas, over 30 miles per hour. So from here, again, here locally, most of our gusts in southern and western parts of the state will be between 25 and about 30 miles per hour. Not even as bad across northern and northeastern parts of our state. But again, gusts are going to stay pretty strong even overnight tonight on into tomorrow. They could even be a touch stronger throughout Wednesday, and by Thursday we will see the wind not necessarily gusting as high, but sustained. It will still be a little bit on the breezy side, but improvement when it comes to the wind getting closer to the weekend. Scattered showers in the forecast for the rest of today, and that is statewide. You can just see more of it kind of sinking in from the north, again, behind that low pressure system. So a chance for some showers this afternoon and then overnight tonight. Now, Wednesday morning, the rain's going to continue likely across the UP in northern Wisconsin. We have just the slight chance, maybe from Green Bay to Milwaukee, to see a few lingering sprinkles, and then by Thursday, again, a lot of this cloud cover will gradually start to move its way eastward, and that will allow all of that clear sky and sunshine to roll on in later in the day and stay with us through the weekend. Temperatures are definitely impacted today and tomorrow. We're going to have a couple of cooler days. In fact, highs here in the state will range from low 40s up towards the north, upper 40s towards Madison, and those of us Green Bay to Milwaukee down to, we'll say, Chicago, low 50s. And this cold front, remember, it's sinking even farther towards the south. So look at some of this cooler air in the midsection of the country here. I mean, the high of only 64 in St. Louis, a little below average for this time of year. So we're all at least seeing a slight dip in temperatures, but look at parts of Nebraska and northern Kansas. That's a frost advisory for tonight and tomorrow morning. So even our low temperatures really going to be impacted. This is the national forecast for lows tonight. Look at all of these numbers, even down south, 53 for a low in Dallas, a little cool. So I do think we're really going to feel some chilly nights in the nights ahead. And here in Milwaukee, we need to watch for the potential of some frost Thursday morning and especially Friday morning. In fact, Friday morning, areas away from the lake could actually see their first freeze. So even cooler temperatures expected potentially in the upper 20s away from the lake. Then we start to climb a little bit more when it comes to lows heading on into early next week. But just gear up for a couple more days of rain here locally and then cooler temperatures, but by the weekend, highs will be back to 60s. So good news for anybody trick-or-treating across the state. I know it's a big weekend for that, both Saturday as well as Sunday. That's your regional weather. Let's take a live look outside right now. You can see the clouds filtering in, a very moody sky here in Milwaukee and across much of the state. We have plenty more to talk about, especially wind-related with Holly. That's coming up when Wisconsin Weather Experts returns. Welcome back, everybody, to Wisconsin Weather Experts on this Tuesday here in Milwaukee. Well, we've talked about the wind the last couple of days. It's going to stay strong today as well as tomorrow. But do we need to know the actual wind speed? With the answer to that, here's meteorologist Holly Baker.
Welcome to Wisconsin Weather Experts Dictionary. So I have another word for you today. Now it rhymes with thermometer, but it's not a thermometer. The word is anemometer. Yeah, they rhyme, but they do two different things. They both measure something, yes, but this in particular, an anemometer, measures the actual wind speed. In fact, it's an instrument that is used to measure the wind speed and or the wind pressure. And you can even see the picture here that has those 4 cups, and typically when the wind blows, these cups all spin and rotate in a circle, and then that is how you get your measurement of how fast the wind is actually blowing. Now I know that sounds all cool and all to just look at, but you're going to be able to make your own just right here with these simple tools that you may have in your own very home. So to make an anemometer, this is a simple way. These are some of the tools you'll need. You'll start with maybe a spool, a pencil, thumbtacks, cardboard strips, 2 of those, cupcake liners, and a needle or a pen. Now this is the way that you would assemble that anemometer. So you would have the spool at the bottom, and then you would have the pencil ready. After that, you would use your needle and pen to pretty much assemble your cardboard strips. Once those things are assembled, next, you'll get your cupcake liners and you will use the thumbtacks to attach those. Once they're all attached, you set it outside, the wind will start blowing, and that is basically going to help you measure the wind speed. So the faster the wind blows, the faster those cups will spin, and there you go. You've created your own anemometer.
What a cool thing. I mean, you were just talking about how you've done this before
Yes.
for presentation. You know, we've done it when we were little kids as well. And talking about what you could use for those cups. Dixie cups is what you mentioned.
Option.
That's an option too. So there's many different ways you can do it. But what a fun lesson just to do with kids. And it's something you easily can do at home with just easy tools.
Absolutely.
Around the house.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we're going to talk a little bit more about something different than the wind. Spoiled milk. It doesn't sound great, right? But believe it or not, spoiled milk is turned into plastic. What could be more Wisconsin, right? We have 2 UW-Platteville professors who found a way to turn dairy waste into biodegradable 3D printing material. Shayana Jaywana explains how it could change the future of farming and manufacturing.
It started with a crisis.
We saw it on the news, and it was like, oh, this is a significant economic waste.
Dairy farmers having to dump milk by the truckload as demand collapsed during the pandemic.
What can we do to mitigate this loss?
A mechanical engineer and a chemist joined forces, asking what if old spoiled milk could become something new?
Protein in milk is considered as a biopolymer. It's like there's a carbon chain in there. If we can harvest that material and turn it into polymer, at that time it was a hypothesis.
Their answer, a biodegradable plastic made from milk protein, strong enough for 3D printing.
We were like, yes, this is exactly the kind of project that we want.
The research grew out of Wisconsin's Dairy Innovation Hub, funding projects that take local challenges and turn them into breakthroughs.
We want to be able to have something that faculty who are already really awesome in what they do can take their expertise and turn their sights towards the dairy industry. And being able to say it's more than just what we do here at the farm, it goes well beyond that.
What began as a crazy idea is now a patented process, one that could cut food waste, reduce plastic pollution, and give Wisconsin farmers a new revenue stream.
What if Walmart's freezer cases go down? What are you going to do with all those gallons of milk? You hate for it to go just down the drain. So here's maybe an opportunity to say, we'll take that milk, we'll pull the casings out of it, and we'll do something that's actually a value added.
So this is a great project that I can brag about in my classroom. We are not just learning things just to get a good grade. We are actually learning things, so hopefully in the future we bring this knowledge to society and solving some problem.
In Platteville, Shayna Najawan, WMTV 15 News.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. I love this story. I actually have a girlfriend whose family's in Platteville, and they have a dairy farm. So, you think about how we have all this milk, right? Not all of it gets bought in the store. We have things like natural disasters, whether that be storms where the power goes out or hurricanes, and that milk is there, spoiled milk. What can we do with it?
Yeah.
I love something that seems like a totally wild idea.
Yeah.
They can actually put their knowledge in test and, one step forward in the future, taking our waste and turning into something valuable.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. I love his quote too. I believe it was the chemist at the end. We don't just learn stuff to get good grades. We learn it so that we can actually do stuff with it in the future. So I love that. Students, remember that if you're watching. All right, let's take a live look outside right now. Clouds again still with us. We've got a little bit more coming up on Wisconsin Weather Experts. We're going to talk about monkeys and dolphins. I love it. That's all coming up. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Wisconsin Weather Experts. We've covered a lot in terms of weather, but we're going to bring you a lighter note with some animals as we wrap up the show today.
We are. The monkeys were these monkeys, I should say, brought to the area by Colonel Tui, a tour boat operator in the 1930s. Look at how much fun they are having. So this colonel wanted to create a jungle-like park similar to Tarzan. He dropped off the monkeys on an island. What Colonel Tui did not know is these monkeys are pretty good swimmers and were able to spread out. There are now believed to be hundreds of these macaques hanging around. Okay, macaques we have at the zoo. They're so cute. They're like one of my favorites. The woman who captured the most recent video, taking the internet by storm, she says she was thrilled to see them.
I mean, I've never seen a monkey swim. I've seen them, go from tree to tree, vine to vine, but this is impressive.
I know. It's funny at the zoo, they just jump on each other. It's like WWE out there, and it's hysterical. Highly recommend here in Milwaukee.
And, there's going to be a free day at the zoo coming up, the first weekend of November, so you can stay tuned for that if you want to go see them. Well, we are going to take another look at some dolphins because there is some research being done that Alzheimer's may be linked to that. We have Fox News' Jennifer Vaglis explains.
It's a sight that could make any eyes well up with tears. A dolphin struggling like this.
When dolphins strand, they have unusual behavior. Some may be disorientated.
It's something we saw a lot of in the Bay Area between summer 2018 and 2019. 183 betrayed in their own homes that were overtaken by toxic algal blooms. New research from the University of Miami's Miller School of Medicine shows Alzheimer's disease may have a link. Dr. David Davis, research associate professor of neurology, says it all started in 2019 when he was given a deck of brain tissue slides.
I thought they were actually Alzheimer's disease slides, but they told me no, these were animals that have been treated with algal toxins. And it got me start to think, what is that doing to animals in the environment?
In a first of its kind study, Dr. Davis partnered with the Hub SeaWorld Research Institute looking at 20 common bottlenose dolphins from 2010 to 2019.
These are dolphins that are commonly found in the Indian River Lagoon.
He says it's hard to compare outward Alzheimer's symptoms in humans to that of dolphins, but a look at the brain showed a lot of similarities.
And we were able to find that, yeah, the dolphins did develop Alzheimer's disease changes, but they also had these particular types of algal toxins in their brain.
That toxin is known as 2,4-DAB.
In dolphins, they had a dysregulation of their inhibitory synapse, which is also can be seen in Alzheimer's disease as well.
Comparable changes to their blood-brain barriers, too. A co-author on the paper, Paul Allen Cox, found in a different study that exposure to toxic algae can impact human brains, too.
Particularly a toxin called BMAA developed neurodegenerative-like symptoms in their brain.
Jennifer Vaglis, Fox News.
Yeah, kind of interesting to see that relation between the two.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for staying with us here on another episode of Wisconsin Weather Experts. We'll see you tomorrow at noon.